Pakistan's response is going to be somewhat diplomatic. They have been exercising caution, and I think they are going to again to be more cautious in its approach towards the USA. Though I personally believe that this is the high time that Pakistan needs to be in a little more defiant mode, because enough is enough. This dual mantra, I mean, they are basically exaggerating the facts on the ground. The role of Afghan Taliban, their presence on the border region. I mean, partly it is true because you cannot stop the movement of militants on the border region, which is a zigzag, porous. But if you say that they are giving an impression that as if this is the sole factor because of which the Americans are losing their war in Afghanistan, I think that is a terribly bad approach that the Americans have come up with. I think that does suit them. Suit them in the sense that they have somebody as a punching bag. You are responsible for our defeat. And then it is quite understandable for the government in Kabul that they can put the entire blame onto Pakistan for the mess that they themselves have created. The rate of the government is largely restricted to Kabul, some highways, and symbolic presence in major urban centers. And the rest of the country is in control of Afghan Taliban. They have their own judicial system, and they have their own executive branch. There is an entire hierarchy with which they have been operating. And very interesting part is that now, I mean, at one point of time, Pakistan had a lot of influence on Afghan Taliban, but now the situation has changed altogether. The reason being is, it is the factor of Daesh in Afghanistan. Russians have been supporting Afghan Taliban because they are left with no option but to support them, because they believe that the Daesh is byproduct of Americans, and they are trying to encircle Russia. And similarly, particularly Iran actually has been sheltering Afghan Talibans. The entire leadership of Al-Qaeda, we know it. And you might recall just an year and a half ago, the head of Afghan Taliban was killed in a drone attack while entering from Iran to Pakistan. So I think Afghan Talibans, they are parallel governments. It's a fact. We may like it or not like it. And they are negotiating with China, they are negotiating with the Americans. They have their diplomatic office in Doha, and Iranians have huge influence on them. Russians have their influence on them. Americans are on the record, Afghan authorities are on the record, that the Russians are providing them weapons with which they have launched insurgency inside Afghanistan. I think in a broader picture, Americans have lost this war, and they need a punching bag. This new policy is basically the only new thing that I have found is basically renewed threats. Americans are trying to flex their military muscles now through media, putting pressure on Pakistan. You are responsible. Bring Afghan Taliban on negotiating table on our terms and conditions. I think that is most unlikely scenario to happen. I foresee one thing. There are two things are going to happen. More civilian casualties in Afghanistan, more insurgency, and that means more attacks on NATO forces in Afghanistan, more attacks on Afghan national security forces, and the more mess the Americans would be in. Americans even would not go for soft options against Pakistan because they know the peaceful exit of American troops that would lead via Pakistan. And any peaceful settlement of Afghanistan, it has to be through Pakistan, because in one way or the other, Pakistan has some influence on Afghan Taliban. Pakistan has a communication links with Afghan Taliban. That does not mean that we have provided them sanctuaries. They had their sanctuaries inside tribal region at one point of time, but now since Pakistan launched a military operation in the tribal region, they sneaked into Afghanistan. And I think probably if their pressure on Pakistan is basically asking for moon, which I don't think they would get it.
Yes. Javed Saab, in your opinion, how do you think the statement by the Chinese has been received in Washington?
I think that is a very significant statement, particularly that we have read today. And the senior high-ranking officials, he spoke with the US Secretary of State. And then two points have been raised. about the security concerns of Pakistan and about the sovereignty of Pakistan. I think that is, I cannot recall there was a better statement than the one that we have seen now, which is a warning to the Americans that you don't need to breach the security of Pakistan in terms of any military action on so-called hideouts of the militants. And then there is a question of the security, and that means, I think that was a reference to the Indian involvement in terrorism in Pakistan, because India has particularly done worst thing. I recall that before 9/11 we had a insurgency in southwest of Pakistan, in the Balochistan. This entire insurgency, separatist insurgency, it was engineered, sponsored by the Indians. And that is the gift that Americans have given us through Indian. I think that is a clear message to the Americans that this time around we are going to be in a more aggressive manner with Pakistan, because Pakistan's and Chinese strategic interests in the region, they coincide, and there is a sense of convergence now between both countries. Chinese have now border issue, it's growing with India, and China doesn't want the Indian presence in Afghanistan. It doesn't assert itself in a manner that Pakistan has been asserting, because Pakistan unfortunately has been on the receiving end on how this terrorism is being imposed from the other side of the border. I think Americans would listen to China. It was basically, this entire new policy is basically, it is a gamble, unwinnable gamble. There are new tricks, new tactics. Rest of the contents of the policy are the same. And they will try, there is a very important point that President Trump raised, that this time around we are not going to get into the project of democracy, but we are going to get rid of militants. There are two interpretations. One is that they are least bothered about on whether or not there is going to be democracy in Afghanistan, something Afghan Talibans have been opposing. And they will basically try to hunt down militants through firepower, which is obviously going to cause collateral damages. That means more recruitments, that means more public resentment, not only in Afghanistan, but in the entire region. And when they would fail, they would end up negotiating with Afghan Taliban on their terms and conditions. And in the process, they would not care about the seeds of the so-called democracy in Afghanistan, and they would not care about Ashraf Ghani and Abdullah. I think that is also a clear indication that the Americans probably would end up negotiating with Afghan Taliban. They would seek just one guarantee, assurance from them that you should not shelter Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. They are already against Daesh.
But we already have IS footprints in Afghanistan, and there's another war that is looming inside Afghanistan. The Taliban are also taking on the Islamic State, the so-called Islamic State. So that is obviously a concern.
That is where there is a convergence of interest of Iran and Russia. That is why they are providing them weapons. That is why particularly Iran is providing them shelter. And that is where, at the end of the day, I think President Donald Trump's policy is, I think he is also going to have a second thought. And in order to get rid of other militant groups, basically Daesh is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. At the end of the day, I'm just hoping that sooner or later Americans would end up directly negotiating with Afghan Taliban on their terms and conditions, and if they come up with a harder version of Islam in Afghanistan, they would not care. And I think Americans had a chance, an opportunity for a graceful exit from Afghanistan. Pakistan could have facilitated a negotiated settlement. They have not opted for it. There is a possibility that the Americans' fate in Afghanistan may not be very different to what former Soviet Union had suffered. So let's see what goes on, but things don't bode well for Americans in this region.
Moving on, one of the few statements that have been quite promising coming from the United States, and that is a statement from the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. He reminded India, rather, of the need to take some steps of rapprochement or improving ties with Pakistan. So that has also come along with as an aside to the entire narrative about the new policy for the region. So Javed Saab, do you think that the Indians are going to take this advice by Mr. Tillerson to mend fences with Pakistan for better peace in the region? Do you think they're going to take that seriously? What sort of an Indian response are we expecting from that?
Obviously, Indian also knows that this statement is just meant for the sort of lip service, and they know it's not going to happen. Pakistan even went to the extent of, during General Musharraf's period, went to the extent of dropping UN security resolutions and offered them that let's negotiate. And they did not come up to the negotiating table in a manner that there could have been a viable, acceptable, mutually acceptable solution of this issue of Kashmir. Now, Kashmir is obviously still in Afghanistan. The military muscles that are being played out by the different regional powers, Kashmir is still there. We need to see that. Because Indians are there in Afghanistan because they have a Kashmir dispute with Pakistan. They want to engage Pakistan on its southern borders, on its northern borders, on its western borders, because they want to divert its attention from the dispute of Jammu and Kashmir and want to bring Pakistan to a position where they think they can settle this issue, keep your Kashmir and let our Kashmir stay with us. That has been their approach, and whenever there are negotiations on Kashmir dispute, that is their ultimate objective. Now, in this entire that India has come up with over the period of time, and what we have heard from the President Donald Trump, basically that's all Indians have been saying. It is this narrative, which Pakistan calls it as a false narrative, that is a pure Indian. Before that, they sanctions the jihadi groups who've been operating inside the Indian Kashmir, and they're indigenous jihadi groups. They don't belong to Pakistan. And then the second point is what Indians have been saying on Afghanistan, the kind of the solution they wanted, that is what the President Donald Trump has come up with. That is in contrast with the ground military reality inside Afghanistan. And I think, frankly speaking, no country compromise on its strategic interest. And I foresee that Pakistan would not cross a red line. That means that they would not cross to the Afghan borders to hunt down Afghan militants. That's not going to happen. Pakistan has interest to kill those terrorists who've been killing Pakistani civilians and the security forces, but they would not go after Afghan Taliban inside Afghanistan. Afghan Taliban have their huge presence on the eastern and the southern belt of Afghanistan, and also now on the southern and the northern belt, because Russians have opened their heart for Afghan Taliban. They've been negotiating with them. I think in a broader picture, sooner or later you would see that the Americans would realize the blunders that they have committed, because they have raised this issue to a point where some people have mistakenly thought that Americans go for some sort of military options on Pakistan. And you might recall there were drone attacks, frequent drone attacks, not long ago on Pakistan, and most of these drone attacks happened with the very informal, discreet information that Pakistan intelligence agencies have been providing them about the hideouts of the militants in the tribal region. Americans have been dependent informally on Pakistan, and if they want to attack Pakistan on the tribal region and they think there are suspected hideouts, do you think Pakistan would provide them information? My understanding is they might, because that has been the track record. But that does not mean that Americans are going to open a war front with Pakistan. That is the most unlikely. They have soft options, and those first option they have already exercised, and those were the threats with which they try to scare Pakistan. And the very purpose was they wanted to pressurize Pakistan, and still they are trying to do, to a tipping point where Pakistan can be forced to bring Afghan Taliban on the negotiating table on the terms and conditions that American would set. That is the most unlikely scenario that is going to happen, because Afghan Taliban have 60% control over Afghanistan. Americans admit it is a 40%. My understanding is it is a much beyond 40%. So why would they militarily, when they have a military edge over NATO forces, over Afghan National Army, and there is 20% Afghan National Army. They are deserting every year, which means 50,000 Afghan troops every year they desert. And there are Taliban sympathizers who've been attacking NATO forces. And all of a sudden, with this new policy, you think this is going to change? That is next to impossible.